Michael C. I'm a teacher. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm an uncle. I'm a friend. I'm a husband. But most importantly, I'm a father. I created TheSkyBoxx in 2021 to show to you that being a rapper and a ball player isn't the only way they can provide opportunities for themselves. In season 5, Rise Above, we're going to explore some special guest journeys and see how they rose above their circumstances and they just didn't become good, they became great. On this episode today, we have a discussion with CEO, Principal of the PA STEM Academy, Mrs. Jen Morrison. And we discuss education and how can parents be involved in education and how can we better our little scholars when we are involved in their education and a lot more. Sit back and relax and enjoy. Welcome to Rise Above. It's me, Michael C. So it's a light over the mic. Let me get to my guest right now. I will have to say, when it comes to this beautiful woman, it took less than one conversation and I fell in love. And when it came to this conversation, her and I, we really had an in-depth, real conversation, not just about education, but she really tapped into who I am. I find this woman very near and dear to me and very, very special. She's more than a boss, more than a principal. To me, she's a mentor. I want to introduce you to someone very near and dear to me. I want to introduce you to CEO and Principal of the PA STEM Academy, Miss Jen Morrison. Welcome.
Thanks.
Welcome to Rise Above. Welcome to Rise Above.
Thank you. I don't know that I deserved quite that introduction, but you're too sweet. And I feel the same about you, darling.
You really do. You really do.
Thank you.
I like to do like a little check-in because everybody needs to have that check-in. Everybody has to have that, how are you doing? Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people out there that are smiling and happy, and they're asking other people how they're doing. And I think you're one of them. But here's the question. I want to ask you, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm overwhelmed, but you can be overwhelmed and you can be great at the same time, because when work is hard, but the work is what you love, you can handle the hard work. So am I busy? Yep, 100%, but I'm good busy.
You are. How's your school year going?
It's gone great. It's been probably the busiest of all of our years at PA STEAM because, every year we add 80 kids. So our building is as full as it's been, and we have 280 kids this year, and 80 kids every year, that makes a difference. And yeah, and so we're, ramping up, and I think, the first couple years of any school year is hectic, but we're doing great.
You're rocking it. You're rocking it. You're rocking it when it comes down to it. And as she said, the school year's going great. And she knows that there's an uphill climb, but she knows she's got a team that's right there with her. And with that being said, we'll be back right after this. We're back. You already know who it is. It's Michael C. The source of light over the mic. I'm here with Principal, CEO, Miss Jen Morrison. Let's get right into it. I need to know, what is your why?
These kids are my why. And you know, if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would be doing what I was doing today, the answer probably would have been that I wouldn't have ever planned this. I fell into education accidentally, Mike, and it's been the best accident that's ever happened to me. Never really had a true passion or desire to be in a leadership role. I liked being in the classroom. I liked being with kids.
There you go.
But these kids have really touched me, very deeply. And I, over the years, just felt like our kids deserved more. And when you move into a leadership opportunity, you have the ability to give them that more. So that's certainly my why of why I sit where I sit today.
Well, let's turn it into why education.
Accident. I was totally going in an opposite direction. Always loved kids, but was getting my degree in psychology and in art because I wanted a master's in art therapy. I wanted to help kids work through their challenges using my preferred medium, which was arts, and probably wanted to do that, ironically, because of an educator who made me fall in love with arts when I was in the elementary grades. And, without sort of going into my whole life story, I was the fat kid in school. I didn't fit in with the sports. I didn't fit in with the cool kids. I, I struggled to find my place. And at a very early age, I had an educator that sort of took me under her wing, showed me what art could do for me, and it changed the trajectory of trajectory of my life. And so I then, as an adult, wanted to go and do the same thing for other kids. And I felt like I had an ability to sort of connect with the youth. And I thought art could be that way that I connect and help them.
Yeah.
But I was in love at the time, and all the art therapy programs were out on the West Coast. And I wasn't willing to move to California to get my master's degree in art therapy at the time. That's where all the programs were. And so I took a job as a PSS school in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and was working with a client there and very quickly fell in love. And I overheard the principal one day saying, I just can't find an art teacher. My ears perked up, and the rest is history. I went back, I got emergency certed, plugged in my education credentials, and I stayed at that school for 16 years. And still, I still feel very strongly that I did use art as therapy. And that's what got my foot in the door for education.
So, with all this being said, what's the end goal?
I'm pretty happy where I am. I think that, you find a place in life where you know and you can feel that you're making a difference, and that's where I sit today. And I think, my end goal is always to feel that I'm making an impact. And I think, will there ever be a day that I pass this on to somebody else? Maybe. But for now, I feel like this is the end goal, is changing education, particularly in the Harrisburg and surrounding communities.
When all said and done, what keeps the passion of education going for you?
Oh my goodness, all of my success stories. And quite honestly, some of the failures, because you can't save every child, unfortunately, but you sure can try. And
Yeah.
the ones that do succeed and make it, farther than anybody, probably including themselves, ever even imagined, that's a victory and that's a win. And when you lose one, it just gives you that power to work even harder to try to save the next one.
You do. How does both how do you keep such a positive and uplifting school environment the way you do?
Culture is key. And I know from being in education for as many years as I've been, that if the kids don't feel that you feel it, and you don't get that buy-in, all that work that you need to accomplish will never happen. The kids have to know you care. They have to feel safe in your building. They have to feel safe with the adults that they're with, and feel deeply that those adults want what's best for them. And on top of those personal feelings, with those relationships or connections with the adults in the building, we've got to teach our kids to have those relationships with their peers. And so that's why I always say I never prioritize the academics. I prioritize teaching kids how to be good humans, because when they get those soft skills, those relationship skills, They're happier, they're more productive in the classroom. The teachers are happy because the classroom is thriving, and it just builds that feeling of this is exactly where we want to be. And when kids are where they want to be, you don't have the problems that we hear about sometimes, in the media and in education in general right now, because let's be honest, it's a mass exodus in the classrooms. Teachers teachers can't handle the nonsense, and there is some nonsense out there. So we have to address the nonsense pieces so that we can get to the meat and the potatoes of what we're really there to do, which is teach these kids and grow them.
There it is. There it is. At the end of the day, guys, we got to look at these kids. They're our future. So we got to tap into what is going to be the base for our future to grow. Some say education. Some say, let's start from the behavior. Let's make them grow from the inside out. Let's not just have just students. We want to develop scholars. Let them get into the world and not just fight against the world. Let the world come to them and let them be the world. Let them be our future. Let them look into our future and say, we got this. We got this. We got this. With that being said, marinate on that, and we'll be back right after this. Let's make this epic. We're back. You already know who it is. It's Michael C, the source of life over the mic. Click that like and subscribe button. Remember, it's only $3.99. I got my girl, I got my boss, I got my mentor, Mrs. J. Morrison from the PA STEM Academy, the CEO and the principal. We got some good talks right now about education, and we're about to get into a lot more. Let's go get her. Speak to me on how community engagement is so important to the school environment.
Well, I'm sure you've heard the term, it takes a village. And that has stayed true for, a really long time. And for for us here in Harrisburg, we have an incredible amount of resources, and a lot of them are hidden gems. And at PA STEAM, we've been so fortunate to write within our charter that we use these community partners to engage with our students. So we have, our State Street Music Academy teaching our music program, and the local art museum, the Susquehanna Art Museum. The kids are learning and getting to be in a real authentic gallery. We have an authentic native Spanish speaker teaching their Spanish. All of these folks and many more are our community partners. A lot of colleges and universities partner with us. It just broadens the scope of opportunity for our kids. Getting Messiah University to come in and bring female engineers in sends light bulbs off to our young ladies that, wow, science and engineering is not just a male dominated field. And look at all these ladies that are moving into it. I could be one of those ladies if that's something that I'm interested in.
Right.
And so really, putting wider arms around every kid and giving them a taste of so many different flavors, so that, like you said earlier, we don't want to put kids in boxes. We want to give them the wings so that they can choose their path and be educated on their path to figure out what they are best suited for in life.
Right.
There's a lot to be said about trade schools versus universities. And I think the world is waking up to the fact that not every kid needs to go to college. And we should probably stop that narrative that you're only successful if you go to college. My own son more than likely will probably not go to college. I can already identify that that's not something that's probably going to be part of his path, but it doesn't mean he's not going to be super successful with whatever he does. I have a very intelligent kiddo, but we just want to make sure that we're encouraging our friends, to our littles, to really choose the path that's right for them, not what's the society's right for them path.
Right. Right. When you think about what's the most important thing that you would think that parents need to participate in, not the school events, but what other events do you think that parents really need to keen in on for the success of their kids?
I think that I have traditionally always taught in struggling schools. And that means that, struggling schools in the sense that poverty stricken communities. Okay. So parents and families that have a lot of, you know, challenges and quite honestly, trauma. And
Mhm.
I think that what parents need to recognize is kids see and hear everything. And it is totally okay that you have a challenge, but include the child in the challenge so that they can be, and it can be a success story. And what I mean by that is, okay, you have food insecurity, there's no money to buy dinner. Teach your children not to go to Giant and steal something because this is your only alternative. Teach your child how to obtain resources and go to the food bank and be proud to take your child with you to the food bank because now you're teaching that young person that, yeah, times might be hard, but I'm resilient and I'm going to find a solution and we're going to work through this. And I find that sometimes parents let their circumstances override those important lessons for their children. And so, I guess for me, it's really important that for parents to sort of shelter their kids from the not so great stuff and include them in being a solution seeker versus don't teach our children to um, accept failure and find being comfortable in failure or being comfortable in those stressful situations. Let's work together to include them to be the solution in these problems.
Mm.
And certainly part of that solution is joining forces with your children's schools because we don't want anybody to fight alone. And we believe at PA STEAM that, we want to rise up our children and rise up our families. If there is something that I can provide as a support, we want to help you because we know that's ultimately going to help your household and it's going to help your children and it's going to help everybody in that house to thrive. So we really look at it as not educating just the child, but, working with the whole family. And what I want, parents to know is that we welcome that and we don't want you to be afraid of coming and asking for help. We want you to be a partner in this with us. And so when your child's having a struggling day, we're going to work with you. And when your child's having a fantastic day, we're going to celebrate with you. And we just need you part of all of those conversations. So please let us be a part of all of your conversations.
Right. Because that's one thing I noticed outside of that school, and I think I have told you this before. Parents come up to me and have said, wow, like this this student goes home happy. This doesn't happen at dot dot dot. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And when you hear that over and over again, and you're hearing you making a difference, and it's like you hearing Principal Morrison, such a great principal, and dot 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 dot, and you're just like, wow, like that's just awesome. And you're just looking at what you have gone through, and just a little time I've known you, and you've gone through like so much, but you just don't stop fighting.
You talk about community. I mean, nobody is any better than anybody else. And this whole world could take a big lesson from the kids at PA STEAM. And I think you could agree with that.
Yeah,
We should do whatever it takes for everybody. We teach our kids that we can't be our best selves unless the kid sitting next to us is also their best self. We
right.
don't want people to feel embarrassed or afraid to ask for, hey, I didn't have dinner last night, or hey, my mom's probably not going to get to go to the grocery store this weekend. We want kids to feel comfortable to not only say that to the adults in the building, but to say it to their friends. And we openly embrace then that other kids can support other kids because that's what we should all be doing in this world is giving when we can and giving back when we can and helping one another.
That's all it takes. Being
Yep.
kind,
Yep.
being kind. That's all it takes. All it takes is that helping hand, guys. All it takes is that helping hand. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done, and you look at everything around you, everything that happened all throughout your day, if you were being kind all throughout that day, had some laugh, yeah, you had the little ups and downs, but I guarantee you, if you were kind, you definitely brightened someone's day without you even knowing it. Be kind. And we'll be back right after this. Go on YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button. It's only $3.99.
$3.99. Are you only on YouTube?
Nope.
Spotify?
Yep.
Google Podcast?
Absolutely.
Anchor?
Yep.
So you're on many platforms.
Correct.
So how do we find you?
All you have to do is search
The SkyBoxx.
Back, you already know who it is. It's Michael C. The source of light over the mic. Hit that like and subscribe button. It's only $3.99. Again, I'm having such a beautiful conversation with the CEO, principal of PA STEM Academy, Mrs. Jen Morrison. I got a few more questions. Then I got a rapid fire question, shout out, and we're going to ride out.
Right.
All right. How do you reassure a parent that their child is getting the best education in the PA STEM Academy?
Well, I think their little faces when they go home at night and share everything that they share, really tells that story. But I could start with our data. I could start with our PSSA scores that we just got back, where we had our first round of third graders last year take the PSSAs for the first time, and we scored above the state average in math and right on the line at the state average for reading. And so we're super proud of that. Obviously, something is working in our curriculum choices and our programming in the school. The the real key is those teachers in those classrooms. And you can buy any fancy curriculum and put any book in front of a kid, but the real power is in the adults that lead that curriculum. And that is where I can assure any parent that I hire highly qualified teachers, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a veteran teacher or a teacher with a lot of experience. I put just as much weight into that person's character and their heart when hiring them as I do in their resume, in their diploma, because that's where we really shine, I think, at PA STEAM.
I do. I agree. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you a statement. I want you to fill in the blank. The hardest part of my position is
The hardest part of my position is probably, this is a tough one for me to say, but you want me to be truthful, right?
yeah.
I I don't look like most of my students. And there's a lot of unpacking to do there. And so sometimes the hardest part of my job is sometimes it takes me a little bit of time for people to build trust within me. I'm in an urban school. I'm a white lady. What do I know? How can I relate to you? And I've experienced that over many many years in education, and I think I used to get a little upset by it or personally offended by it, but now I see things much deeper, and I accept that, and I know that sometimes, it's a shell that I have to crack. And I think that once people eventually get enough time around me and get to know me and see that my heart is here for just as you and for your children, great things happen. But I think the hardest part for me is sometimes there's a little delay in that.
I agree. All right. The most fulfilling part of my position is
My goodness. I mean, all of my kids, my Facebook is just as full of, people that I went to school with as it is former students. And, that's always been my rule is you can't be my Facebook friend until I'm no longer your teacher. But kids still to this day connect with me. And, what a 360-degree moment it is for me to now have kids of kids in my building. And when former students find out that now I'm an administrator of this new PA STEAM Academy, they're knocking down my doors and getting their applications in, and word on the street is Mrs. Morrison is there. And that's because these kids know me and they know my heart and they know that I loved them when they were little, and so now they want that same experience for their kids. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Kids have a sixth sense. They know where fake is fake, and they know where real is real.
Yep.
And that's something that, I mean, I even see it until this day. But with all that said, the kids are our future. And this woman right here, she's doing her thing, y'all, and more.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this.
Alison Kennedy's photography is a fine art, photojournalistic, event photographer with a portfolio of finely crafted images and a style of her own. Her unique style ignites emotions and defines the essence behind your big day, whether it be an intimate affair of a large-scale event. So go to www.alisonkendyphotography.com.
We're back. You already know who it is. It's Michael C. The source of light over the mic. You already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. Y'all thought I had the pod deck, y'all. Y'all thought I had the pod deck, y'all. But I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Since we're doing this a little bit different. We're not in the studio today. I'm going to hit her with some rapid fire questions.
Go easy on me.
You already know. After that, shout out, then we're going to ride out. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Ready. One thing you would change in education in your city is?
More collaboration between all of the schools in our community. We should be working smarter, not harder, and we should put our heads together to do better for kids.
Most memorable part of your years thus far?
Oh my gosh, these are hard. Most memorable. Well, it's pretty memorable to open up a brand new school and in 3 years already have the success that we've had. So I'm going to go ahead and say the PA STEAM Academy coming to fruition is my biggest.
We know you don't do this. I know this in the little bit of time I've known you. You do not do this. But if you could travel one place with a paid 2 weeks off, where would you go?
Oh my gosh, this is easy for me. My husband's been promising me for years. There's an island off of the Bahamas where you can swim with pigs. And I don't know what it's called, but one day I will go and I will swim with pigs.
You got any shout out?
Oh my gosh, my entire staff, you included, I certainly, this is not a one person operation here. And we are a staff of under 50, but wow, what a difference we've already made in Harrisburg. And, every year we're going to continue to grow. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for the staff that helped me to make that happen every day.
All right. You already know. You already know. My special shout out. PA STEAM Academy, stand up. Room 303. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. Super special shout out to this man. I'm going to be honest with you. It changed my life. Special shout out to Mr. Shannon Hoffman. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. You've opened up the doors, my friend. You've opened up the doors, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me. You have no idea. You have no idea.
I will second and third that. He's tremendous, and so happy to have him by our side here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that said, you already know what it is, Nico. You already know what it is, Noel. I want to thank, oh, God, yes. I want to thank the principal, the CEO of PA STEM Academy, Mrs. Jen Morrison, for giving us all her insight on how we can help our children, how we can help our youth, how we can help in education, and a lot more. I also want to thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions or thoughts or concerns, hit me up at #1SkyBoxx@gmail.com. I am Michael C., the source of light, over the mic. Until next time, remember, be good to yourself, y'all.